producer at a show on PBS called Now on PBS, which is a show about politics. It's like a news magazine show, kind of like 60 Minutes, you know, but we focus on, you know, presidential, you know, who's going to be elected president and Congress and, you know, all the corrupt politicians out there. There's a lot to report about. Producer, let's see. Well, I've worked at Now on PBS for about 6 years. I started out as kind of an intern, as a PA when I was just out of college, and basically they kept giving me more experience, and so the last like 3 years I've been a producer. Master control. And basically what that means is, so there are a bunch of different shows that are produced here at Channel 13 that are then aired nationally, you know, across the country at a bunch of different PBS stations. Tim is an editor, and so basically what happens is we go out, you know, we shoot the tapes, you know, for each show, like this, and we come back here, we go into the edit room, and the editor will, you know, load them into the system, the app.
What he's saying is, get rid of the problem with the Mexicans, and we resolve all our problems in the country here.
In feature films, you know, like Die Hard or, you know, whatever, that's the you know, it's called a director. In television documentary, it's called a producer. And so you find the story, you know, you figure out how to interview, you know, who to interview as part of the story. You make a lot of, you know, so you're researching on direct what they call a line cut, which is basically like editing on the fly. So it's like, so he'll just listen to the interview, you know, and obviously the interviewee will be talking, so the camera will be on him. So he'll be like, you know, so he'll be like, camera one, you know, roll camera one. And then we'll come in here and record the narration with the correspondent. So there's an you know, an audio engineer who knows what all this is about. Yeah, because like any rustling of papers is going to be heard, you know, like random kind of pops of sound and, you know, like.
Are you sick of TV when you come home from work, or is this something where you find yourself looking at TV in a different way now that you work here?
Yeah,
or?
I love documentaries. You know, there's so many great stories to tell that are, you know, real. I mean, a lot of sad stories about the war in Iraq going on, what people are going through when they get back.
Do you watch less TV now that you work in TV, or do you watch more TV because it's like your job?
It's hard. It's not because I don't want to watch TV. It's because I don't have a lot of time. My job is very consuming, but I really like it.
Is it worth the pay?
Job. What?
Is it worth the pay?
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, I'm not going to get rich doing what I'm doing, but I think it's a good. I think I would recommend it. It's a cool job to have. It's you meet a lot of fascinating people who you would normally not meet. You learn about the world constantly. It's awesome, and you get paid to travel, which is fun.
Would you ever do a documentary about a documentary?
Like what documentary?
I don't know, like, I mean, it just seems like an interesting subject, like, doing it. Yeah.
Well, Bill Moyers actually does that a lot. For instance, he produced a documentary about the coverage of, the media coverage of the Iraq War, or the lead up to the Iraq War, and basically, you know, a lot of people say, you know, everyone just sort of accepted the president's arguments about that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction, and as we all know, he did not. And, you know, what happened to the media? Where, you know, why weren't they asking tough questions? So that was a documentary about documentaries, sort of.
How does the production staff work with the host and the correspondents to decide what the story is going to be and not going to be too.
You know, we'll kind of get like an overall directive from our boss, like we want election coverage for 6 weeks. But then after that, it's kind of like that's a pretty wide open, you know, there are a lot of different ways you could do that. So you go out there and you find that, you know, all right, well, what's an interesting topic that hasn't been covered? We try to do, our show tries to do stuff that, like CNN and MSNBC and the cable news outlets that are on, you know, 24 hours a day. We try to do stuff that they normally don't cover. It's a combination of, you know, to answer your question, it's a combination of, you know, our bosses saying we want to do this, and then, but we go out and find the stories. You know, that's us. He doesn't do any research. He just, you know, sits back and says, do this. But he's great. Like he knows what he's doing. He knows. So we try to do what we do, you know, well. You know, and stick to the issues that people expect us to cover.
Can we thank Dan for taking this
Thank you,
time out?
guys. Thank you.